to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com.
What is up? Welcome to the Baseball Show. We are a week away from the season starting. Fantasy's coming up. Season predictions coming up. But we have just a little bit more off-season shit to talk about. Before we get into that, my name's Rob Fox.
What's that noise?
What?
What's that beeping? I don't care.
Hit the wrong keyboard.
I just like making nothing into something. So.
I don't have my headphones on. I don't even want to. Don't need that kind of distraction in my life.
There's not a whole lot of a whole big chance that he's going to say something meaningful during a baseball show. Anyways.
Me or Rob?
Yes. I mean, Rob's just going to hate on the Phillies until June, and then I think they got a chance, the Phillies, until September, and then be like, I never believed in the Phillies in October.
You reached the middle last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a little more off-season shit to talk about today, including the biggest news of all since we last came on the air. Pujols back with the Cardinals.
Yeah. Officially.
And this is his last season.
That's what he says. I've never heard him talk about this before. I imagine I would have if it had been discussed publicly, but I think he wanted to retire the same year as Molina and then go into the Hall of Fame with him.
Yeah.
And that must mean that this is Molina's last year as well, which is not hard to imagine since I think it's his 20th year in the league, right?
He has been in the league since 2004, I think. So close to it. And obviously Pujols is 2001. Although I think Molina came up younger than Pujols. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember Pujols or Molina, everyone fucking loving Yadier Molina when he first came up. I was like in high school, which is fucking insane that he's been playing that long. But yeah, so Pujols back in St. Louis. A lot of people, most people probably think that's purely a nostalgia move, put asses in seats, blah, blah, blah. But I think Pujols can still be a serviceable bat, especially now that there's a DH rule.
Yeah. I mean, they have a young lefty there as well. Fuck's his name? Corey Dickerson. He's not bad, but he doesn't hit lefties well, and they don't let him swing against them much. The inverse is true for Pujols. So this is a deal that would have made sense regardless of him retiring and shit.
Yeah, if you needed a platoon bat, Pujols is your guy.
Yeah.
So another thing I read today, someone was quoting it from Baseball Reference. I forget who, it was on Twitter. But Pujols, Baseball Reference has another way to classify pitchers. Obviously, there's like hard throwers, whatever. Against quote-unquote finesse pitchers, as Baseball Reference sees them. Pujols, 268 batting average, which is good. 308 on base percentage, which is not good, but a 529 slugging percentage. So basically, his problem is he can't handle heat from righties.
Yeah, but that's all that you see in Major League Baseball now. So that is a bit of a problem. There is the question of whether or not he's going to hit 21 home runs and get to 700. I doubt it. I don't think he'll get the at-bat. I mean, he hit 17 last year.
Right. And not that many at-bats.
It was 189 at-bats. I think it was you. You did the math. He's got to get like 280 at-bats to even have a chance at it or something like that.
I did not.
That's every 20 at-bats I think he's been getting. So
yeah.
21 times 20, that's 420 at-bats. He's not getting anywhere close to that.
He's for sure not getting 420 at-bats. I do think...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. 189 at-bats was just with the Dodgers. He got 86 more with the Angels.
So he got 260 last year in change?
270 something.
Okay.
Yeah, 275.
Okay.
Which isn't bad. I think he could do that again. I also think that if you call it your last season, then you should be able to do steroids. Like and you can never come back.
Yeah, that's it.
You can never come back. Like you can't. It's illegal for you to sign a new contract after that. But just like give that dude a farewell tour. Let him just go out there beefed up. There's a giant vein across his forehead, and it just says "fuck you."
Well, it's like literally the contract year on steroids.
Yeah.
Right. So like everyone performs better right before they are transitioning to a new era of their career.
Yeah, I think it would be good for baseball. A lot better than this stupid fucking home run derby X bullshit. which we'll get into later. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
I have like barely looked into it because it sounded so fucking stupid.
It's bad.
But I will say this: if Pujols has like 7 home runs by the end of May, maybe mid-June, they're gonna start giving him extra at bats. In fact, they might just give him extra at bats anyway.
Especially if they're not in contention.
Right.
You would think, right?
If they're out of it by fucking what do you call it? The All-Star break or shortly thereafter, they're just going to let Pujols roll out there every day, basically. And honestly, they might as well, because the Cardinals fans in particular, they fucking love Pujols. And I watched them go out and go insane when I grew up in St. Louis for McGuire's 500th. When they were in nothing, people were just showing up every day to say they were there for that chase, and obviously for this 98 home run race when they were also not in contention at all. So these fans will be more than happy to send Albert Pujols out with 700 home runs and then become, only the 3rd franchise with a 700 home run hitter? Yeah. 2nd, if you don't want to count Bonds, but and 4th if you want to count playoff home runs, which I think you should. By the way, if you count playoff home runs, Pujols is only like 14 or 13 or something off. He's a lot closer if you count his playoff home runs. I don't know. I'll be romantic about it and say he gets 700 because it really just it's better for Pujols if the Cardinals aren't good.
Yeah, which I don't think that's going to be a big problem, frankly. The
lineup's actually not bad. I looked at it again, but the pitching is I don't know who's pitching because Flaherty's hurt.
Flaherty's hurt right now. I think he'll be back sometime in the next couple of weeks, but Wainwright's he's 40 or 41 this year.
And he's also retiring at the end of the year, I think.
Well, he'll be 41 in August. He's actually got the same birthday as one of my dogs.
Oh.
So there's that.
That's neat.
Steven Matz is their number 3 guy. He's a number 5 guy. So they're not going to do well. It's not a terribly competitive division.
No.
To be honest. I mean, the Brewers are quite a bit better than anybody else in that division.
Which, by the way, this is a quick thing. Jeff Passan pointed this out, so check this out. Wherever you like to gamble, the Brewers over/under on wins is 89.5.
Yeah.
I will take them getting 90 wins in that fucking division.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that.
Yeah.
The Reds aren't very good. All the talent they had last year is gone.
Yeah.
Now. They've got Joey Votto and Jonathan India, but aside from that, Castellanos is gone. They traded fucking homeboy mid-season. Mm-hmm. And then, it's, I don't know. Maybe with the new expanded playoffs, the Cardinals might get into the playoffs, but that's going to be a weird thing. And we talked about it 2 weeks ago, the first baseball show, about with the new expanded playoffs, what buyers and sellers are going to look like approaching the fucking trade deadline. It's going to be different this year because people who are definitely in contention for the playoffs are going to sell. And I don't know what that's going to look like or what kind of shit people are going to you could have fucking all you got to do is make it to the playoffs then you can win. No, you can't. I'm sorry. You're not winning with fucking Steven Matz as your 3rd starter in the fucking playoffs.
I've literally watched a worse Cardinals team win the World Series.
Not worse pitching staff, though.
Oh, yeah.
Who was there?
They're number 2 that year in 06.
Wainwright wasn't on that team.
He was closing.
Hurt, right?
No, he was closing. He was hurt in 11 when they won the other one. But the 06 team had, Anthony Reyes as, the number 2 star. I mean, it was these guys just going out of their minds in the postseason. The 2006 Cardinals depth chart was pathetic.
Let's look. I want to see it. Scott Spezia was on that team, so... show some respect.
He was dying that fucking...
Chris Carpenter, who is
he was great.
Really good. But other than that, it's recycled Brave Jason Marquis. I think he went over in the the trade that brought... who is it that we got from the fucking Cardinals?
J.D. Drew.
J.D. Drew,
yeah.
He went over in that one. Jeff Supan's okay. Mark Mulder was... he had a 7 ERA that season. So they had some names. Jeff Weaver was actually really good in the playoffs, and this isn't the only year that he was really good in the playoffs. He was good in the playoffs for multiple teams. But yeah, that's not the best pitching staff I've ever seen. But they don't have Steven Matz as their number 3. The league's different now.
Yeah.
If you don't have 3 legit starters, I don't know if you can win in the playoffs anymore.
And they also don't have much in the way of bullpen, which is probably the bigger issue if those starters are only going to go 4. or whatever in a playoff. Sometimes only 4 in a good playoff game, like in a playoff game where you're like, oh, sick, you went 4.
Yeah, I mean they're planning on running Lucas Sims out there, who is a rehabilitated starter as their closer this year. That doesn't look great. He pitched in 47 games last year, so he can handle the workload, I guess. But 1.1 WHIP as a closer, you don't want a closer allowing over a base runner per inning. I don't think that's a good stat.
No, not unless. Like, granted, their stuff gets tossed around, or their stats get inflated a little more by a bad day than a starting pitcher's would. So, like, maybe you're cold for like a week. You have a bad week or whatever. That can fuck up your whole season. Like if you remove even half that week. But yeah, it's not a good bullpen. But I'm always kind of the opinion, like, buy the lottery ticket unless they're just actually not good. But even then, it was an 83-win team that won the World Series. It's just fucking bizarre. Like, it's weird because you think, like, La Russa, like, he won 2 World Series with the Cardinals, but both this no 100-win team for La Russa won a World Series.
Yeah.
In St. Louis. It's just a bizarre set of fucking circumstances with that. But whatever. Speaking of the NL Central and other divisions getting maybe a little more fucked, the bottom half of those divisions anyway, this kind of got overlooked. There's now going to be a more balanced schedule.
Like less division games.
Yeah, that came out of the new labor deal. The way it shakes out now is going to be 56 games in division, so 14 against each division team instead of, I think it's like 18 or 19 now, depending on if you get a 4-game series against them. 60 games versus the rest of the league, so 10 games versus each remaining team in the league, and then 46 games of interleague play, so 3 games apiece versus the 14 teams in the other league. And then I guess you play 4 games against a quote-unquote natural rival.
Who's the Braves' natural
Boston.
rival? Really?
They give us Boston because we can't take one of the Florida teams, or we can't take the Rays because that's the Marlins.
Yeah.
So we usually get Boston because we were in Boston. So yeah, we get the fucking Red Sox.
I don't really have a problem with that, but I can already see the issue. Usually the schedule is set up such that the last week or 2 weeks of the season are only against divisional rivals, and that's so that you can control your own destiny. And now that's not going to be the case. I mean, unless they backload all 14 of those games to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like, is that the plan?
Well, it's also kind of interesting. So now it's like, well, what do you just not see people from your division for like a month and a half?
Maybe
2 months.
Well, like people from your division. Man, I don't know. 14 games against each division rival, so at least 14 games versus each. That's 2 4-game series. You said, all right, 4-game series, and then, man, I don't know. Like, how do you split that up? It's going to have to be like a bunch of games against your division because everybody has to play by these same rules. So those division games have to happen at the same time, right?
You would think so.
Otherwise, there can't be unless you take.
Honestly, that could be a not terrible way to do it, like a pretty fun way to do it. And it kind of is that way already, but like, just make September division month. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what it should be anyways, but there's 3, so maybe 2 of the divisions in each league are playing interdivisional games at a time, and then the other one is playing interleague or something. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it. It just seems like I want teams to be able to fucking control their own. It makes baseball better that the last 2 weeks of the season, you're seeing actual pennant races where one team that's trying to win is trying to play or trying to beat another team that's trying to win that division as well. That's exciting. And if they can't do that, then I'm against it. But if they do it, then fuck, man.
How do you think this affects? So basically, every team loses 4 games from their own current division or whatever, which is an advantage for the AL East. That's better.
Yeah.
But probably a disadvantage for, say, the NL Central because now they're losing games against the Pirates and the Reds. And
I mean, it's a real disadvantage for both Central leagues, to be honest, and probably for the West, the NL West as well, because I don't expect the Giants to be as good as they were last year. The Padres are going to go the first 3 months of the season without their best player.
Right.
So the Rockies and Diamondbacks both suck, so the Dodgers is going to be chewing up that division all season.
Now, this doesn't start this year. I think it starts next year.
Well, the good news is the Rockies and Diamondbacks are still going to suck.
Yeah, they're not a lot's gonna change on that front. It's fascinating. I do like that you get to see every team in the league. Like I do think it's every single. It's bad for the game that people have to go out of their way some years, most years maybe, to watch like Shohei Ohtani play.
Yeah.
To watch Mike Trout play.
I mean, it's different in like football. You know that they're in college football as well. You know that you're going to have that home game against this team 3 years from now. But baseball doesn't work that way. And also, football is a game of team stuff, and baseball is, in my opinion, baseball is more of a game of individual matchups.
Yeah.
Like I want to see Shohei Ohtani pitch to Ronald Acuna.
Right.
At least once a year. I mean, we may not see it every year, but chances are high that once every 3 years you're going to see that. In the past, that would not even be the case. You might only see them for a 3-game series once every 2 or 3 years.
You might only see them face each other 2-3 times in their whole careers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that aspect of it because it allows people to see more, of the stars. It'll make the stars less regional. I would think. There's only.
That's definitely a good thing for Anaheim.
Yeah.
Because nobody gives a fuck what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Like, people talk about it a lot, but those dudes aren't, man, they just don't play meaningful baseball.
No.
They don't play into October, so nobody cares.
Pretty much. It'll be interesting for me. How do you think it affects the NL East? I mean, that's probably in the bonus for them, don't you think?
I mean, I guess it depends on the team. It's definitely a bonus for the Phillies, Nationals, and Marlins. Yeah. Because they don't have to play the Braves and Mets as much. Or maybe the Mets do what we think they're going to do and shit the bed, and the Phillies are in that spot. But either way, that team or that division beat the Christ out of each other last year. So, yeah, I'm sure that would be but it's not as good for anybody as it is for the American League East.
Oh,
like there's 3 legit teams. Not the Yankees suck and the Orioles suck, but the other 3 teams in that division are all potential fucking World Series teams, in my opinion. Right. So that's rough.
It's interesting. Like at this point, I think it almost guarantees that 3 teams come out of the East for the playoffs.
Probably from both leagues.
Yeah.
Right.
Once this starts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably right. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Fuck it. Next up, this is kind of an interesting thing. I read this today. I haven't been keeping track. I don't usually keep track of spring training stats like super closely, just because there's so fucking much of it. But Cody Bellinger, kind of back to his old regular season ways last year as far as sucking ass goes. 3 for 19 with 14 strikeouts so far this spring as of like 2 days ago. Which led me to kind of think, and I know you don't really like Chris Taylor, and Justin Turner's old, and then who's the other? There's one other fucking guy, Chris Taylor and AJ Pollock.
Yeah,
you're kind of not big on those 3 guys. If Bellinger doesn't turn things around, is it less of, oh my God, the Dodgers added Freddie Freeman, and more of, oh, they actually needed to add him?
Yeah. I think it's already that. Like I've said before, Bellinger's done, man. I don't think he's coming back. Swing's too long. What we're seeing now is a regression to the mean. His quick twitch muscle fiber is no longer able to overcome his long-ass swing. Like we saw it with Jason Hayward as well, although he managed it a little bit better as far as making contact and shit. But Bellinger is still taking the same gigantic fucking swing that he's always taken. You got to shorten it up or something. Get quicker through the zone. Like Olsen's quick through the zone. That's the only reason his long swing works.
Right.
He's quick through the zone. Bellinger's not. And Hayward just shortened up his swing and stopped caring about being a power hitter.
Oh.
That was his only option. Because he plays elite defense from right field, but he sucked at hitting for a while. And he still sucks at hitting, actually.
Dude, the amount of ground balls I've seen that giant man slap. Yeah. I mean.
Like, he's just a little bit better than Jackie Bradley, in my opinion. Like,
if you showed me his spray chart, I would assume it was Juan Pierre's.
Yeah.
Fuck,
yeah,
man.
It's not great. So, between the fact that Turner, as I've said, in each of the last 4 or 5 seasons, his OPS has gone down, and now his OPS is under his career average. That's always a bad sign for a hitter. If you're looking at a guy's career projection and all of a sudden he's got a year or 2 of OPS below his career average, chances are he's fucked. Like unless there's injuries involved, which with Turner, there kind of was, but he still got over 400 bats in those seasons. So that's not really.
But also, injuries are a little more worrisome when you're 37, not 27.
Sure, yeah. And his injuries happened in the postseason, not during the regular season. So the numbers we're looking at aren't affected by that shit. That and, these other guys that they're depending on, Pollock and fucking Taylor, they're like 250, 260 hitters. That's not doing anything for me.
Pollock's kind of claim to fame right now. He was on my fantasy team last year, so I got to kind of like see his numbers on close on a daily basis. And he had pretty decent power numbers, but most of what his reputation is kind of coasting on right now is that he, like Luke Voigt, kind of went bananas in the COVID year. Although you could say the same thing about Ozuna to an extent as well. But it does kind of look like the back half of their lineup is a lot. Their lineup's not nearly as deep as it seemed when they added Freddie Freeman.
Right.
Because I think everyone just wants Bellinger to be good because he's a goofy guy, he's good looking, you know what I mean, that type of shit. And the other question too with them now, Bellinger is still elite defensively.
Yes, at multiple positions.
At first base, in the outfield.
Yeah. Right and center field, he's very good in both. So.
Yeah, kind of freakishly so.
Yeah.
However, the rest of the Dodgers lineup is now getting a little sketchy defensively too. So Freeman's great at first, Trey Turner's great at short.
Yep.
What's Justin Turner going to do at third with diminishing just everything because he's old? Look, I love Max Muncie, but he's a fat guy.
Yeah.
And
whenever it's his turn to play the field, it's not going to go well for him. Will Smith's a pretty good defensive catcher, but you're only going to get 120 games out of a catcher anyways.
And but his bat will probably be where they get him 130, 140 games hitting.
Well, now they might cycle him through the fucking DH spot to get him more bats and keep some pressure off his legs, but. The Dodgers only had 2 guys with 500 at bats last year, Justin Turner and Chris Taylor. That's not good.
Yeah.
That is like the last 2 years of the Warriors where they just couldn't, with KD there, where you just couldn't stay healthy. That's what you're looking at now.
Yeah. I mean,
with the Dodgers. It's an aging group of people, and they brought in a guy who's 31 to be their fucking knight in shining armor. Now, it might work a little bit, but really effectively what they did was replace Corey Seager with Freddie Freeman. People look at these as zero-sum transactions, but it's not true. They lost Corey Seager, and from his 3.7 wins above replacement, they've replaced it with Freddie Freeman, who I believe was like 4.4 or something like that.
Yeah. It should be kind of egregious. We haven't mentioned them already, but they're really going to need Mookie Betts to bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's going to have a good season, and he's pretty good in right field. He's got a fucking hose.
He's elite. He is and beyond that too. Like, do you remember in the NLCS last year the amount of caromed balls he played perfectly?
Yeah.
Like,
he's a super smart guy.
Yeah.
Out there. Let's see, 4.7. So really, what the Dodgers did was add 1 wins above replacement in the infield, and they didn't really add anything else to their team. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why everybody is freaking the fuck out. Like, it's just the best lineup ever. No, it's not even fucking close. It's not the best lineup in the league this year. What the fuck are you talking about? But it's the Dodgers, right? Everybody's got to suck their dicks all the time. Freddie Freeman has been in the national press more since he became a Dodger than he did his entire time in Atlanta.
Infuriating.
Yeah, and he's been one of the best players in baseball for years now.
Yeah,
and got nothing out of it because he was in Atlanta. But it is what it is, and now I don't really give a shit anymore.
Yeah, good for him, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, how many games did Betts play last year? He played 122 games last year. They're going to need probably 20 extra games out of Betts. They really can't afford to have him
I don't
play.
know who the backup is if they don't get good performances out of Betts and Bellinger in the outfield.
Literally listed everywhere is Gavin Lux.
I know. I mean, if Bellinger's hitting is so bad that they can't keep him in the lineup, they are fucked.
Yeah.
Like, they literally have to trade somehow and get. But I think they're going to end up trading Trevor if he doesn't get banned from baseball for life for whatever the fuck happened there. I feel like they've got to trade him because he's not happy.
No.
And Being in he needs to get traded to like the fucking Brewers or some shit.
Yeah.
In a small TV market where people leave him alone, he can just pitch.
That'd be a terrifying Brewers team. If
Sure would, yeah.
Fucking Brewers.
Yep. But the Dodgers they desperately need another outfielder.
Yeah.
They have to get one because Freeman can't do it. It's not like Bellinger who could play first and outfield, and Max Muncy damn sure isn't playing in the outfield. Like he would look like Humpty Dumpty out there just rolling around and shit.
Yeah.
And AJ Pollock and Gavin Lux, if they combined get like 600 or 700 at bats, Dodgers are in trouble this year.
Yeah. And by the way,
that's not a good look.
Gavin Lux, he's listed as like basically second on their depth chart everywhere, outfield and infield. But if you remember, again, in the LCS last year, he had a tough time in the outfield. That is not where he naturally wants to be. Certainly not in center field, at least.
No.
And
Pollock has only played more than 120 games twice in his career.
Yeah. But that's not so much injury with him, but that is, I guess, a stamina concern, right? Like how long can he last over 140, 150 games?
Well, he's definitely shown no ability to do that so far. Like he had one season in 2015 in Arizona, so take that for what it's worth because he's probably the only guy on the team that got anything to hit, and also that's a really fun place to hit, I'm told. He had a really good season, but aside from that, it's like that's the only season he's had 500 at bats in. Like that's at fucking 34 years old. That's not really what you're looking for out of one of your starting outfielders. But it is what it is. We'll see what Pollock does this year. He'll probably have another decent year. I would say 275, 280, 15, 20 home runs, something like that. But don't tell me that that's your fucking one of your corner outfielders and you've got the best lineup in history.
Right. Well, and I mean, fuck, dude. So Betts is only 29, so he doesn't have even though people just feel like he's old because he's been around forever.
Yeah.
Man. But if they are really, really relying on the health of Mookie Betts and a resurgence from Cody Bellinger.
And if both of those things don't happen, they'll probably still win the West. Who knows, though? The Padres are streaky. Like, they may win. They may turn into the new A's and just start winning 20 games in a row in August and September every year. But then they also, fucking tank really easily because there's no leadership on that team.
Did you see that there were rumors that the Padres were asking about Brian Reynolds from the Pirates?
I did hear that, yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they should do it. Why not? The Pirates aren't a real baseball team.
No.
Why should they have real baseball players?
No. And honestly, Reynolds is fucking 27. By the time the Pirates get anywhere close to what you could call good, he'll be 35.
Yeah. Or dead.
or dead. Either one of those. Real quick, before we get on to the next topic, might as well read our ads here. Like I said earlier, we were talking about win over-unders that I thought was interesting, which was the Brewers at 89.5. I would say smash that, and if you do smash it, do it at mybookie.com. If you love sports and you love making money, then mybookie.com is the place for you. Not only does betting with MyBookie make every game more exciting, but when you sign up using the promo code Drinkin' Bros, your first deposit is instantly doubled up to $1,000. With thousands of bets to make on all your favorite sports, there's no shortage of ways for you to win at MyBookie. On top of having amazing lines and props, MyBookie is also home to several exclusive contests. Obviously, their March Madness contest, their bracket contest or whatever is winding down, but they do these all year long, not just in sports gambling, but they'll do poker tournaments, blackjack tournaments, all types of crazy stuff like that. Pretty much you can find something every week. I assume it's spring, so they probably do something for the Derby as well, all types of shit. Definitely go to mybookie.com for their contests as well as just regular gambling and their promotions and all that stuff. So get off the couch and get in the game with mybookie.com and turn your love of sports into your new side hustle. Because, look, if you drive Uber, you're going to get stabbed. And I think that everyone just accepts that at this point. So head to MyBookie today and use the promo code Drinkin' Bros to get your first deposit instantly doubled up to $1,000. Start winning today. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Next up, I don't know if you read either of the links I sent you, but I think we might finally actually have a good defensive sabermetric.
I don't know if I believe that.
This is, I would say, about as good as it gets to date.
Okay.
The second link will give you a more succinct summation of it. So it's called Outs Above Average. This was actually created by Major League Baseball, I think in about 2020. So you know how they started doing StatCast in 2015, I believe it was, where they tracked like all the player movement and all this stuff like that. They're actually showing Jason Hayward as a example of it just because of his obscene outfield range.
Yeah.
So one thing they started doing more recently that they had never done before, anyone, was take into account, this seems absurd, but take into account the starting position of the defender, where the defender started.
Like how good his positioning is or how far he's traveling to make plays?
How far he's traveling to make plays. Because positioning at this point especially is not necessarily defender specific.
Right.
Like it's more coach.
Yeah, is there an Andrew Jones out there who just does it by himself?
You know,
No.
I would guess they probably don't give Mike Trout a lot of advice aside from telling him, you know, like what a guy's tendencies are.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a chart like everybody else, but
Right.
I doubt he's getting whistled at and moved into position and shit.
Yeah, unless they find him doing something, they're like, no, don't remember, like.
Yeah.
But so what they do now is they chart where the player starts, and there's more that goes into it beyond the main stuff. But it's essentially takes the two main components are time to ball and distance traveled.
Okay.
So it basically takes into account how hard the ball's hit and how far they had to go to get it.
Right. And then, of course, I assume part of the algorithm is also whether they made the play or not.
Yes.
And then plays that you would have to include assists, I guess? Or is it just for the fielding element?
This is mostly, I think, for the fielding element.
Do they
I
have
didn't
the
see anything
fucking-
about outfield assists in particular. It does take into account completing the infield assist.
Do they have the actual formula listed anywhere?
Yeah, it should be in the second link, I think. If not, it's definitely in the first link. Because Fangraphs gave like a quick and dirty rundown. So for the infield, it's how far the infielder has to go to reach the ball, which is called the intercept point, how much time he has to get there, and then how far he then is from the base the runner is heading to.
Okay.
And it gets a little dirtier than that, but it gets all of that in there. And the way they calculate it is, it's called outs above average. And the way they end up calculating it is, what's the example they use? If an outfielder has a ball hit to him with a 75% catch probability, the one that an average outfielder would catch 3/4 of the time, if he catches it, he gets plus 0.25 on his outs saved or whatever. If he misses it, he gets minus 0.75.
So, yeah, it's all about finding the zero standard.
Right.
Whatever the average is, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But it actually uses like real live data on, you know, where the players are starting out and everything like that. I don't know if you've read any of this yet. What are your just general thoughts on it as a sort of numbers obsessive?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. We've been talking about range factor for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Although quantifying that has been a problem. This is probably the best way to do it, I would imagine. There's only a couple of ways to determine how good somebody is at defense. One is whether they make the plays or not, like their actual fielding percentage, and then how many putouts versus opportunities they had and things like that. Like you can be late on a throw and it's not necessarily an error, so it doesn't get reflected. But if it's a play that should have been made, then now you know, right? The other one is this, like range factor. So I need to look into the actual formula and see what all the different parts of it are. But it seems like a good idea. And they're breaking it down pretty granular. Like it's the whole field is mapped off into different sections and stuff, which is good. But I don't know, like the more variables you add, the harder it is to actually get. But you know, for these purposes, there's no award for the best defensive player in baseball. You get an award for being the best defensive third baseman or right fielder or whatever the fuck. So
As well it should be, because otherwise it'd be all center fielders and shortstops.
Yeah.
It is interesting. So there's a couple things I saw that I was like a little curious about that I couldn't find how or if they accounted for it. I know one complaint we've both always had about Freddie Freeman getting negative WAR for defense is that He has like incredible hands, maybe the best picker in the league in terms of saving bad throws. I don't know how they're going to quantify that because this is all batted ball stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he and Olsen and what's his name? The guy Goldschmidt are like the best in the league by a wide margin. Like nobody out there does it like those three guys do. So you got to, but then you have to look at middle infielders and talk about turning the double play, right?
Right.
Like how often is it a double play versus a fielder's choice in a double play situation? I think that's got to be part of it as well. So I'm sure this will continue to evolve. Sabermetrics started in the mid-1970s. People forget about this shit.
Right.
And it's like Bill James wrote that book a long goddamn time ago, and it nobody even paid attention to it until 2001.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it takes time for this shit. But we have more data now than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
So I think it'll come along pretty good. I like this. This is interesting.
It's cool to me. So I think the reason I put it on today, even though it's been around in some form since I was like 2015 or 2020, wherever you want to put the starting point at, Fangraphs finally added it to all their player pages. Like they finally, I guess, thought well enough of the statistic to add it to everything. So I was looking around on different players and stuff like that just to see their plus minus or whatever. It seems like it's pretty hard to get above average. There are some players that kind of like skyrocketed above it, but there are others even like I want to say like Mike Trout's numbers in center field were kind of like whatever.
That might mean they haven't figured that part out yet.
Yeah.
But let's look at who the best at these things are and see if they are the person that won the Gold Glove. So,
You know what, 2021?
yeah.
Okay.
Who won?
It's under advanced fielding, just FYI.
Yeah, I got it. Who won the Gold Glove at shortstop in the American League last year?
It is...
Carlos Correa.
Okay.
Now,
Don't necessarily know that I buy that.
so in the American League, Nicky Lopez, he actually led all of baseball
Yeah.
with 24 outs above average. The next American League shortstop is Andrelton Simmons. No surprise there. Carlos Correa is third on that list, and he's half of what Nicky Lopez is. But
He actually is a lot better than I thought. 12 is still a pretty fucking good number.
yeah, there's no question he's a good defensive player. Now, Max Muncie is at 7
He was at first base, though.
at first base. Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at the.
Oh, okay.
Like Paul Goldschmidt won the Gold Glove.
At 6.
I don't know what he had. No, it was not. At 6. Yeah. So that's pretty close too. I mean, that's pretty close. Who won at third base in the American League? Probably fucking Jose Ramirez. It was Matt Chapman. Okay, he's up on that list too. I think he's fourth total.
He is 17.
Yeah, I mean that's it's a good way to fucking take two variables and see how in line they are. It's the outfield ones look weird though. Like Michael A. Taylor is a good center fielder, but not somebody I would consider a great center fielder.
I mean, he's fast as fuck. I assume. I mean, in the outfield, you honestly might not need much more than speed.
Yeah, but then you're over-ranking speed, and that's not all it is.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that goes on there. Not positioning and shit, but I guess outfield assists are a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
it changes the way the other team runs the bases, which is as important as fucking stealing hits sometimes. Making teams play station to station, like having to get 3 hits instead of 2 to fucking score a run, that's a big fucking deal. If your pitcher has like a good whip and they don't allow a lot of base runners, then keeping the base runners they do have on station, that's a big deal too.
Yeah.
So they're probably gonna have to figure out more about this, but I like seeing stuff like that you can fucking cross-reference.
This is worth noting last year in 2021. So, like I said, it's really, really hard to get in the positive. Only 49 major leaguers were one or better.
Of all the people that played in the NBA, I think it was only like fucking 24% had a PER over 15.
Yeah.
So better than average.
Yeah.
Only 24% of the league is better than average.
Yeah.
In the NBA, which is a highly competitive league with a lot less fucking roster spots available than baseball or football.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's just how it is. Maybe even the the difference between good and great in baseball, or serviceable even and great, is so far.
Yeah.
I think the distance between serviceable and great in baseball might be bigger than the difference between complete shitbag and serviceable in baseball, which just shows you how great some of these athletes are.
Yeah, it's an incredible stat to me. The other one that they just added on as well, I think, is RAA, which is kind of the same thing. It grades out about the same way. It kind of just gives a worse grade. Like, it's a little more stingy, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's the best defensive metric that I've seen so far, just based on reading it, or like reading what goes into it. Like, I'm not going to act like I fucking like fully understand it, but
Right.
it checked boxes for me that I always had a problem with. But I do agree that you're right on the whole like station to station thing. Although it's kind of funny, like, how do you grade like the implication, basically, right?
Because of the implication.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to third base because of the implication.
Well, I mean, you can you do it in the aggregate. How often does a runner on second base or third base tag up and go to the next base based on the depth of that fly ball?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you'll be able to figure that out in the aggregate if you have all that data.
Yeah.
But it's going to be there's a lot of math going on there.
And I guess to an extent that doesn't matter in terms of the actual player's value to teams. It's kind of like, so maybe a lot of times like a great cornerback won't have a ton of interceptions because they just don't fucking throw to him because he's got the guy locked down so good that, like, obviously he's not going to put up the gaudy stat that a defender in his position might put up.
Yeah.
So interesting stat. I really like it. Keep an eye out for that. Again, Fangraphs listed now. You got to look under advanced fielding on the page, but it is just kind of it'll be something I'm looking at like throughout the year. It's definitely a slow drip stat too. Like, the guy who led the entire league, Nicky Lopez, had 24 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So if somebody's got like, 4 outs above average after a month, that'll be a pretty fucking wild performance.
I mean, I'm looking back. I don't know how much more or less accurate the data is from 2019, which was the last full season before last year. But Javier Baez had a 31. Francisco Lindor had a 25. Arenado, 22. He won the Gold Glove that year as well. Victor Robles in center field,
I mean, that sounds
22. Trevor Story, 18. And Trevor Story, Nick Ahmed, Brandon Crawford, and Francisco Lindor of the shortstops are all consistently on the top of the list, and that makes sense to me. So who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Definitely check it out. Next up, Josh Donaldson doing Josh Donaldson things. This time for the Yankees. Josh Donaldson kind of thinks his Yankees teammates are a bunch of soft-ass pussies.
Well, I'm told that's the case. So,
By who?
So Brian Cashman is their general manager.
Yes.
And Brian Cashman, in a very Trumpian statement, said that the reason they haven't won lately is because of the Astros cheating in 2017. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, the Yankees also were cheating. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Here's a quote from him. The only thing that stopped the 2017 Yankees was something that was so illegal and horrific. So I get offended when I start hearing we haven't been to the World Series since 2009 because I'm like, well, I think we actually did it the right way. Pulled it down, pulled it back up, drafted well, blah, 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 blah. But the Yankees, Boston, everybody was doing this shit.
Yeah. And also, the Yankees would have still had to play another team that took the cheating Astros to 7.
Yeah.
It's bold to think they would have beat the 2017 Dodgers. Be like, oh, no, if we had beat the Astros, we were good.
Yeah.
Are you fucking sure
Well,
about
I don't
that?
know. I mean, the Dodgers are pretty well known for choking in the playoffs. But, yeah, that's still a bit much for the Yankees, who didn't have the pitching, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what led to – look, you can say what you want about that fucking gajillion-mile-per-hour fastball that Altuve deposited into the left field seats there. But that's one part of one game. There's a lot of other shit that happened there, and the Yankees haven't – like, you could say that if you were – spending $140 million on payroll, but it's like $230, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, bro, but you just can't say shit like that. You can't spend $230 million and blame other people for your fucking problems.
Right. So here's another issue I have with that statement. They scored 2 runs over the course of the first 2 games against Dallas Keuchel and Justin Verlander, who were not cheating.
No.
That only the batters were cheating.
Yeah.
Well, the pitchers were probably down with it, but you know what I mean. They did win the next 3. They scored a lot of runs there. And then in the 4 games they lost, they scored 3 fucking runs. Verlander, Morton, Verlander, and Keuchel fucked them up in 3 games.
And they would have, regardless of anything else that happened. So what Cashman's saying is demonstrably untrue.
Yeah.
And if George Steinbrenner were alive, God bless him, he definitely would have fired Cashman already. But Hal Steinbrenner is probably getting ready to start cutting his own hair, like that dude from fucking Oakland or from the Raiders.
Davis is good.
Yeah. It's stupid. So, I mean, Donaldson is always he fashions himself as a super intense guy that motivates his own team. Sometimes he's a dick. It only works if you're performing, so we'll see if he performs. If he's fucking hitting 235 again and you guys fucking suck, then you need to shut the fuck up, bro. Because you're not doing shit either.
Lead by example. So I guess he thought the Yankees locker room was complacent. They lost to the Blue Jays again, and I guess the Blue Jays are gonna be their fucking rival and all that shit. It should be noted that the hothead Blue Jays were led by Donaldson back in the day.
I mean, it's spring training.
Right. And then Donaldson pulled basically that scene from Moneyball where Billy Beane walked in and goes, guys were playing music. This is the quote about it. I'm sorry. Guys were playing music, and Donaldson threw the speakers across the room and chewed out the entire roster, and the boldest move of all, left without showering.
Yeah. When he says when they say he chewed out the entire roster, did he have a list? Did he pull up ESPN's website? He goes, all right, where's Mendez? Get in here, number 87. Fuck you. Come on, man. He just had a little tantrum, which he does that.
He's want to do. And look, I loved Donaldson when he was on the Braves. I was, I love Austin Riley. I was sad to see Donaldson go just in so much that he was funny and he was a good dude. And
he's just super intense, and he doesn't I mean, the Yankees have no team chemistry. There's no leader on that team.
You never get a sense because they never fucking play together. Yeah. They're all hurt all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Well, they only have one fucking starter. Do you see Aroldis Chapman's quote? There's a lot of bad quotes coming out from the Yankees right now. Aroldis Chapman had a quote the other day that was like, man, I thought it'd be easier to win a World Series with the Yankees.
Don't be surprised if you see him somewhere else, before the end of the season. Not because of that, just because, well, I guess kind of because of that, because he doesn't like losing.
No.
And he's been one of the premier closers in baseball for a decade now.
Yeah.
And you got to, put that dude on a team that's going to win, and this is not that team. The Yankees are going to be fucking third place in that division at best. They might be fourth place.
Yeah.
I doubt they're going to get – I doubt the Orioles are going to make a run, but – because I don't even know anybody that's on the Orioles.
No.
We should get rid of that team entirely. They and the Pirates should have to fight to the death. And the survivors are then allowed to work for the other teams in player development or something, but they're not allowed to play baseball anymore.
Look, I'll let Cedric Mullins and Brian, whatever the fuck, go to other teams.
So you don't even know his fucking name.
Yeah, I already forgot. We talked about him in this episode, and I already fucking forgot.
Chris Davis, he's on the Orioles.
Yeah, but he's not going to, Chris Davis is probably still getting paid by him, right? Didn't he sign one of those weird-ass contracts?
Yeah. The dude who ended up hitting 130 or some shit.
For 3 years in a row.
Bombs, though.
He hits, when he connects, man, he goes fucking bananas.
He retired.
Yeah.
Runid Odor, however you say his stupid fucking name. The guy that punched Homeboy in the face.
Yeah, and whose brother
Cedric Mullins and Trey Mancini are good players. They got some decent players, but John Means is actually a fucking didn't he throw a fucking no-hitter last year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that dude is legit as shit.
They've got just enough pieces that they just need to get rid of all those guys.
He's got a dope mustache too.
Yeah, just sell all those guys and do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the Yankees seem like they're kind of a mess already, and I guarantee you, also this reeks of something that Aaron Boone would do. He'd be like, "Hey, Josh Donaldson, get in here real quick. Go yell at these fuckers.
Yeah.
Third baseman to third baseman. Come on, go be a hard ass." And then, whatever. It just reeks of that type of...
I think Aaron Boone's got a World Series, so...
He does.
Josh
No,
Donaldson.
he doesn't.
He was there in 2009.
Aaron Boone?
Yeah.
Was he?
Didn't he hit the game-running home run in the ALCS or some shit?
That was 2003.
Oh, was it that long ago? God damn.
Yeah, I don't think he won
But
one
didn't they
with the
win in
Yankees.
2004?
No, they didn't win one in 2004.
13 seasons. Nope, he never won. He was an All-Star one year.
And he was only on the Yankees team for half a year. He got traded there for a midseason situation.
Yeah, that's right. Where was he in 2004? Was he out of baseball?
He might have been hurt or something. That's weird. I don't know where the fuck he went. Yeah.
AIDS. Didn't he just have brain surgery or some shit?
Who knows? I don't fucking.
Yeah. Anyways, nobody on that team has a fucking World Series ring then. I don't think.
No.
Hold on, let me look at the roster.
Oh, Garrett Cole does.
Oh, Garrett Cole does, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
Well, so does Chapman.
No, Rizzo's got one too, yeah, and Chapman.
Chapman because he was on the Yankees and they traded him to the Cubs because they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs, and then they signed Chapman as soon as I think his deal was expiring or whatever. But yeah, that Yankees team's gonna be a fucking mess this year, dude. It's hopefully it's not another year where like they're a mess, and it's largely because Stanton and Judge only play like a combined 100 games. Because I would at least like to see those dudes hit fucking bombs.
I would like to see 500 plus at bats out of both of them, and like the two of them and Joey Gallo all have a fucking full 500 at bat plus season would be interesting, because I think that would be a lot of home runs.
It'd be they would fucking, and Donaldson too for that. Dude, they could have like, Christ, they could have like 340 homer guys on that team if things go right. It could be a fun team to watch, at least. You know what I mean? Like a good team if they're playing on the West Coast and you want to turn on a game after the Braves are over or something like that.
Well, you know it's going to be high scoring because they can hit and they can't pitch.
Yeah.
So
going to be plenty of fucking action.
Tim Anderson's suspension has been reduced to 2 games instead of 3 for that bullshit last year. Whatever the fuck he did. I don't remember what he did. But it was like he bumped into the umpire. Like for the last game of the season, and they gave him a suspension for that. What else? What else is going on?
Wasn't a ton of news this morning. You said something about some stupid home run derby thing.
Oh yeah, the Mets are one of the teams putting a team up, I think. But Robinson Cano is going to play some first base for the Mets this year. That's weird. Hold on, let me.
Is he allowed to play still?
I don't fucking know. Let's see. Home Run Derby X. So, in an attempt to broaden international awareness for Major League Baseball, I guess, there's going to be this traveling circus of former players. So each team is going to have 3 or 4 players that compete in a home run derby.
Like alums.
Well, only one player is going to be an actual baseball player.
Oh, great.
And those players are, hold on, Adrian Gonzalez, Johnny Gomes, Giovanni Soto, and Nick Swisher. Now, that's an entertaining group of people.
Yeah.
Especially Swish and Johnny Gomes. They like to get after it.
They're fucking lunatics.
Yeah. I don't know how Nick's going to do that because he's in player development for the Yankees. Right. But either way, it's not the Mets, it was the Yankees. So Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers, and Yankees will be the team. And then each one of those teams will have a quote-unquote superstar, which is players who hail from the world of softball and women's baseball.
Great.
In a home run derby on a fucking full-size field, which is, I guess, I don't know.
I have to assume they're using metal bats.
They may as well use fucking rocket launchers. Then there will be a rookie who is a player from the men's baseball development system, so one of their farm systems or something. So that'll probably be somebody good.
Yeah.
And then
do you even want to send like your best or like a really good
to
one
go
there?
fuck their swing up for this bullshit? No.
Wouldn't you rather keep them in your organization?
No, it's going to be like Mike. I
know exactly who you're talking about.
The dude from the Braves that had the career record for home runs. What the fuck was his name?
Mike Hessman.
Hessman, yeah, that's it. The global tour will be traveling to London on July 9th, and then Seoul, Korea on the 17th of September, and then Mexico City on October 15th. I don't know when they're going to Russia.
Right.
Time will tell.
I'll tell you what, I would go to the Mexico City one, and I'll tell you why. Because it is like, it's not the Mile High City. It's like the 3 Mile High City.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a fun place to have a baseball team.
The amount of just bombs hit in that, I mean, everybody's going yard in that fucking place.
So here, hold on, where's the rest of somebody posted the play. Look on Twitter and see if you can find who the other people are other than Oh, no, here we go. So the Red Sox team is Johnny Gomes. I don't know why they wouldn't use Big Papi. Like, maybe they can't afford him. But he can still hit home runs. He just hit 40 like 2 years ago.
Well, remember, he recently got shot.
There's no drug testing here for the fucking
That's fair.
retired baseball player. I'm sure Johnny Gomes is going to come out with like fucking tumors on his head and shit. His superstar, and how fucking pathetic is it that they're calling the female player the superstar? Why not just say the fucking softball player?
Right.
Why are the woman?
Because I would actually be interested to be like, all right, I kind of do want to see how far she can hit it.
Yeah.
Like, just let me go be. Is morbid curiosity the wrong?
No, that you're correct.
No, but I mean, like, is it wrong to advertise that even? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
No.
let us go see what we want to see.
Christ. Excuse me. The superstar for the Red Sox team is Paige Halstead, who I see on a lot of the Instagram reels for baseball because she works at one of those academies that teaches people how to get their whole fucking body in line to hit the ball well. And she's got like exit velos at 85, 90. So she might be able to hit taters with a normal bat. I don't know.
You mean 85, 90, like on a softball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I assume they're going to be hitting baseballs. The
Right.
stuff that I'm watching her do, she's hitting baseballs and stuff. And that's just like because I look at baseball stuff all the time, the algorithm will pitch, or no pun, but pitch me fucking baseball videos over and over. And she works at one of those places that does that shit. Like they have all the fucking sensors set up.
Yeah.
And they read pitch velocity, break, fucking launch angle, and all that bullshit.
Oh, yeah. She does both, actually. She does softball and baseball.
So that's kind of interesting. And then Liv Cook, who is the wild card for them. Liv, L-I-V Cook, who is a freestyle football world champion and 5-time record holder. Now, what the fuck is freestyle football?
She plays soccer. It's soccer.
And she's going to hit a baseball.
I fucking guess, man.
Do people really think it's that easy?
Fucking guess. Just make it all softball players. Or at least like some fucking like beefy shot putter or something. You know what I mean? Just like some like bull of a woman that's gonna like just crush bombs, or like looks like she's gonna crush bombs.
There's a woman, I think, at Oregon right now that's gonna hit like 30 home runs in college softball or something.
Oh, really?
Like that. Yeah. Let's see. The Cubs team is Giovanni Soto.
Their catcher?
Former.
Yeah.
And then
no, he's a pitcher.
Giovanni Soto.
Oh, this
Soto?
different Giovanni Soto.
Yeah, Gio Soto is. I think he was actually a catcher.
He was.
Yeah.
This is a different guy came up.
But he's got, let's see, 108 career home runs. So not exactly a slugger, but Alex Hugo is their superstar. I don't know who that is, but there is a TV show that's been on for 5 seasons called Alex Hugo. That's in France. Oh, here we go. Alex Hugo walks it off for the Women's National Team Development Program. This is a fucking women's baseball league.
Right.
So she plays women's baseball. Okay, cool.
She played softball for Georgia in college, so good program, I think.
And then
it's SEC. So
their wild card or influencer is somebody named Spencer Owen, who is also a soccer player.
I guess that's to appeal to, like, so the other one you mentioned, Cook or whatever, she's British. So that makes sense for the setting, I suppose.
This dude's British as well, it looks
Okay,
like, because
so-
I see him wearing fucking England kit.
So that makes sense in so much as, like, trying to get, I guess, other Brits out.
The Dodgers, Adrian Gonzalez.
If he isn't obese, I don't know what he looks like now, but
sure he is.
if he's stayed in okay shape, he'll hit some bombs for sure.
Yeah, what did he hit, like 250, 260 for his career?
Yeah,
317. He can hit dingers.
He's a legit slugger.
Ashton Lonsdale, Lansdell. Let's see who this person is. I'm assuming it's another women's baseball player. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and it looks like she's a pitcher as well, which that should go great. Oh, no, she plays shortstop as well. Sweet. And then Yoongi Kwak, Yoongykwak, is the last member of the Dodgers team. And that person is a South Korean short track speed skater.
Okay, that makes sense, though. They're playing in South Korea. So basically they want like a local or a couple local celebs from wherever they're doing their shit.
I guess.
And I think Adrian Gonzalez is Mexican, which is why he is. So I don't think, because I didn't hear any other like Latino female.
Latinx.
Yeah, female celebs or celeb players or whatever. So I assume Gonzalez is going to be the draw from Mexico City.
The Yankees, Nick Swisher, although I feel like there should have been quite a few more people there, but Nick Swisher is a huge fucking personality. So if you're going to do something that's an outreach thing, I can't think of a better person to send than him.
For that, for sure. But you know a guy who's still in shape and who can hit million-mile balls is fucking Teixeira. That guy's still jacked.
Yeah, but he's got the personality of a fucking wet blanket.
It's true. He is a shoe.
Yeah. And then they have Erica Castelli, who is the catcher for one of these fucking professional baseball team, women's baseball teams, I think. And for the Mexican game, Stefania Aradias, maybe, I don't know how you say that, but she's actually a Mexican softball player. So they'll have 3 actual ball players on their team. They might be better than anybody else. And then Daniel Corral, who appears to be, he's definitely Mexican, but I'm trying to find what sport he plays because all of his pictures are lifestyle pictures.
Maybe he doesn't play one.
Well, he's
a gymnast.
He's got some medals on.
He's a gymnast.
Yeah, so I don't know. Now, this is the important part because it's a weird collection of people. Here are the rules, just so everybody knows them. Not that it matters because this is going to be stupid, but gameplay gets here are the rules. So beyond swinging from a mounted batter's box, hitters will get to swing at 25 pitches and take up to 10 of them. That means they can see at most 35 pitches per at bat. So it's not timed. It's 25 pitches that you swing at, and then you can take 10. Obviously, they'll be swinging for the fences, but if you've ever played MVP Baseball 2005 mini games, you may be a little familiar with what's next. Batters can also earn points by hitting the targets. There will be 2 of them placed about 160 feet from home plate, and another 2 set beyond the outfield fence for power hitters to take aim at. So it's like the fucking
So it's Topgolf?
If you hit the bull, you get a fucking free steak or some shit, I guess. Finally, there's one more twist. The opposition will have players in the outfield. They'll earn points by catching any balls that fail to make it over the fence. So it's home run derby with defense.
Okay. Sure.
Teams will get 1 point for. I think they should put a couple of those people in the infield, to be honest. Teams will get 1 point for every home run, target hit, or catch. Man, a home run is worth the same as catching a fly ball. There's going to be 0 for every fucking score.
Well, how many players? I guess if there's only 2 players out there, it's not that bad. But no, that's still kind of ridiculous.
After 5 pitches, the player can call for a hot streak that will allow teams to double their points on the following. It doesn't say if you call a hot streak and hit a fly ball and they catch it if you lose to.
Just get double fucked.
There will be a winning team at each event. But just like the regular season, it will culminate with a knockout tournament to determine the Home Run Derby X Tour champions at the final event, which I believe is in Mexico. So
The final event better be in Mexico because that's where all the balls are going to fucking explode.
I assume they had like some tryouts other than just picking the right demographics for this, right? You would think.
Yeah.
Like at least these women can hit the ball out of the infield.
Right.
But for the soccer players and gymnasts,
that gymnast guy is fucking jacked, so
that doesn't mean shit.
I assume he's coordinated.
Gabe Kapler is jacked. He had like fucking 12 home runs in his career.
Yeah, but you put him on a softball field, he's gonna if you put him in a beer league softball game, he's gonna kill someone.
But that's not what this is. This is baseball.
Yeah,
right?
I know, but they're getting it lobbed over the plate.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, it would be better for the women if they're throwing faster.
Yeah,
but
I got to think everyone's using a metal bat though. There's no way it's a wood bat.
So the field of play, excuse me, is between 280 feet and 320 to center field, and then the lines are somewhere between 260 and 300. So it's a large softball field.
Yeah, that is between softball and baseball.
But it's also a weird angle. So it's a 45-degree angle in each direction from. No, I'm sorry. It's 45 degrees out from home plate. So you can only hit this way.
Okay. Can't like really pull the ball. That's really bizarre.
Nick Swisher only pulls the ball. The batter's box will be marked out on a raised stage. So you're on a raised stage on a batter's box. The pitcher's mound will be raised to the same height as the stage. So that's good because a flat trajectory of the baseball makes it harder to get launch. Although it also makes breaking balls impossible to hit. Bob Gibson can tell you all about that. That motherfucker cheated his way to the best season a pitcher's ever had, really. Well, he wasn't cheating. It was just the rules. 2 raised targets 160 feet from home plate. 2 raised targets out beyond the outfield fence. The catch zone will cover 60 feet from the outfield fence. So fence 60 feet in, that's where you can catch the ball.
Okay.
So most of the hits are going to land like 12 or 13 feet in front of the plate.
Yeah.
With these ladies and gymnasts hitting. And this is going to be a fucking shit show. I can't wait. I'm actually going to watch this whole thing. I'm going to get really high and laugh until my fucking eyes bleed at this. That's it.
I'll probably not tune in, but that's just me.
I'm definitely watching. It's going to be hilarious.
Oh, fuck.
Like if you found out that there was going to be a fat guy dunk contest, you wouldn't watch that?
I'd watch that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. I would absolutely get in on that.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all.